So, okay, let's set the scene. We've got this 39-year-old new dad, right? Goes on Reddit, completely desperate.
At his wit's end.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because he's had this huge blow up with his mother-in-law.
Always a good start.
The worst. So he and his wife, she's 29, they just had their first baby.
Okay.
Just 3 days ago. You'd think, like, happy time, right?
Like, no, we're in bliss, yeah.
Exactly. But no. They are dealing with a whole lot of stress.
And I can only imagine.
The baby's recovering from jaundice. The wife's recovering from an emergency C-section. And on top of it all, she's in a ton of pain.
Oh, I bet. After a C-section, that's rough.
The worst. So she's got pain meds, right? But they're making her feel totally loopy.
Yeah, that's a common side effect, unfortunately.
Yeah. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to stick with Motrin.
Trying to manage it her own way.
Exactly. And this is where things get interesting.
Oh, boy, I can already tell.
The mother-in-law, she's a retired nurse.
Of course she is.
Of course. And she's visiting them in the hospital.
Okay, so we've got a medical professional in the mix now.
Oh, yeah, and you know she's got opinions.
Strong ones, I'm sure.
And they rent their house from this woman.
Oh, no. Talk about adding fuel to the fire.
You could just feel the tension, right?
Absolutely. This is a powder keg waiting to explode.
So picture this. Wife is struggling to even get out of bed to go to the bathroom, right? Pain is terrible, she's saying, like 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Mother-in-law overhears this. And, well, she decides to get involved.
Uh-oh. This can't be good.
Not good at all. She grabs the hospital phone and, get this, calls the nurse to order stronger pain meds.
What? Without even asking her daughter?
Against your wishes.
No way. Talk about overstepping.
Seriously. Like, I can't even imagine. You're in pain, you're trying to recover, and then your own mom just disregards your wishes like that.
It's a huge violation of trust, especially in that vulnerable state after a C-section.
A worse time. So naturally, the wife is super upset, tells her mom to hang up the phone.
What did she say?
Mother-in-law refuses.
Oh, no, she didn't.
And that is when the husband steps in.
Finally. I was wondering when he was going to make an appearance, so what does he do?
He tells his mother-in-law, straight up, look, I want to have a good relationship with you, but you've got to respect our boundaries.
Good for him.
Right. Especially when it comes to his wife's medical decisions. He even told her, like, you need to reassess your behavior.
Oof. While I applaud him for standing up for his wife, that phrasing might not have been the best choice. Reassess your behavior. That could sting a little.
Yeah, in hindsight, probably not the most diplomatic approach.
Right. But you got to cut the guy some slack. He's running on no sleep, he's stressed, new baby, major family drama.
Oh, total.
Not exactly a recipe for calm, rational communication.
No kidding. But still, that text message, it was like lighting a fuse.
Oh, it definitely set off a chain of events.
Because the mother-in-law, she doesn't just disagree with her, she blocks them, both of them, on everything. Phone, social media, you name it, total silence.
Wow. Talk about cutting off your nose to spite your face. It sounds like she's trying to control the situation by shutting down any possibility of communication.
Right. Like, is this really about the pain meds anymore? Or is it something deeper?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Like some people, especially moms, they have a hard time letting go, right?
It's true. It can be tough to relinquish that control.
Their kids are adults, making their own choices, and it's like they don't know how to handle it.
Absolutely. It's a tough transition for some, and in this case, it sounds like there might be some underlying control issues at play.
Totally. And remember how they rent their house from her?
Oh, yeah. Don't tell me.
They come home from the hospital totally exhausted, overwhelmed, ready to start this new chapter as a family. Eviction notice.
You're kidding? Are you serious?
90 days.
No way. That's cold.
Right.
So it's not just a family feud anymore. It's a full-blown legal and financial nightmare.
Exactly.
It's insane. And you know what? The internet totally blew up.
Oh, I bet. This is like Reddit gold.
The comments section,
Yeah.
wild. People were on all sides of this thing.
I can only imagine. So who are people siding with?
A lot of people. Team husband all the way. Praising him like, you go, man, standing up for your wife. Calling out the mother-in-law, saying she was being manipulative.
Oh, yeah, totally. Classic, but your mom situation.
Yeah.
The internet eats that up.
For sure. But there's more to it. Some of the comments, they went deeper, you know?
Oh.
Like, really analyzing what was going on.
Always someone playing armchair psychologist over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like one person, they compared it to narcissistic personality disorder.
Whoa, really? Okay, so we're not just talking about, like, a mom who's a little too involved. This is next-level stuff.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
This commenter, they were saying how this behavior, needing all the attention, even if it's bad attention, controlling everyone with guilt trips. That can be a real pattern.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about the pain meds at all. It's like a whole personality thing.
Maybe. And it wasn't just that one comment. A bunch of people were sharing their own stories, talking about their moms, saying they were toxic or emotionally manipulative.
Like they say, sometimes you got to love them from afar.
Right. And it makes you think, right, family stuff, it can be so deep, like patterns that go back generations.
Generational trauma, all that jazz.
Exactly. And speaking of family history, the husband, he drops another bomb in the comments.
Oh, come on. There's more. This just keeps getting better. What is it?
So remember how they rent their house from her?
Yeah, it's like the worst part of the whole thing.
Well, it gets worse. It's not just renting, it's rent to own.
No way. You're kidding.
Nope, trying to buy the place.
So the stakes just got like 1,000 times higher.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just getting kicked out. It's losing their investment, too.
Exactly. And it gets even crazier. The husband says his wife's dad, he's divorced from the mom, he warned them this might happen.
He called it. What, that she'd go nuclear over pain meds?
Well, he said she had a history of this kind of behavior.
So it's a pattern.
Seems like it. And this is why all those comments about setting boundaries, super relevant.
Oh, totally. Like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, you know?
Well, maybe you can, but this situation, it's like textbook what happens when you don't have those boundaries, especially with family.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, though. It's family. You're supposed to be close, right?
Right. But you still need those boundaries to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And your relationship.
And sometimes it's got to be tough love, right?
Yeah.
Like, Mom, I love you, but you're out of line.
Totally. So here we are, new family, controlling mother-in-law, who's also the landlord, history of boundary issues, and now an eviction notice. Where do you even go from there? That's a tough one, right? And Reddit, they had thoughts, like always. Some were saying, lawyer up, document everything, fight that eviction.
Oh, yeah, go to war for your house.
Yeah.
Especially with a new baby. Seems totally unfair.
Totally. But then some people were like, is it worth it? Like, even if they win, they're still going to be dealing with her.
Ooh, good point. Like, how much stress do you want in your life with a newborn?
Right. And a lot of people were saying, like, cut your losses, move on, protect your little family.
Yeah, sometimes peace is more important than being right.
Exactly. And a lot of comments were about that, like going no contact with toxic family, people saying it was the best thing they ever did for their own mental health.
It makes you think, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of environment do you want your kid growing up in? Is it worth it to be around all that negativity?
It's a big question, and it really gets at something important. Sometimes the best family, it's the one you create, even if it means stepping away from the one you were born into.
That's deep, man. That's really deep. So, okay, we've gone from a Reddit post about pain meds to, like, life lessons. What can people actually take away from all this?
This whole thing, it's like a crash course in communication, boundaries, and, just looking out for yourself.
Self-care, all that good stuff.
Exactly. First off, talking to each other. So important, especially in families, right? You got to have those hard conversations about, like, what you expect, what your boundaries are.
Before things blow up.
Right. Like preventative maintenance for your relationships.
Love it. Okay, what else?
Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. It's not about being mean. It's about protecting yourself, your energy, your mental health.
And sometimes that means walking away, even if it hurts.
Yeah. It's tough, but sometimes it's necessary. You have the right to protect your own family's happiness.
Wow. We really went there with this one. Started with the Reddit post, ended up talking about, like, the meaning of family.
It just goes to show you, these things are complicated, right? No easy answers.
Nope. But at least now, maybe our listeners, they'll be a little more prepared if they ever find themselves in a similar situation. Knowing when to speak up, when to set boundaries, and when to just walk away.
Exactly. And knowing they're not alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because families, they can be messy, but hey, at least they make for good stories, right? Until next time, everyone, remember, keep those boundaries strong and don't be afraid to put yourself first.